All right, here we go. After Party 55, where we're going to talk about only a few things. We're going to talk about sessions 171, Return, 172, Ambush, 173, What Remains, 174, Revenge Interrupted, 175, Ice and Easy, 176, TPD.
TPD!
And 177, Another Deal.
That's a lot.
I don't think I've ever wrote that much down on a piece of paper.
That's quite a bit, but
There were some things.
half of it was combat again, though. So we have this
that's
trend,
true.
right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Epic combat.
A couple things happened.
The ambush was pretty easy. It seemed. You kind of mopped the floor with the ambush there.
Used a lot of resources.
Well, yeah.
Okay, a lot's happened, and it's nice because this batch is kind of like a single day almost. Like we almost went like a whole.
Yeah.
We're almost at the end of the adventuring day, anyways. We made some new friends. We made some new enemies. We killed some old enemies.
Friends.
We lost
You're
some
really
newish
gonna
friends.
use that word.
Listen, I was
All in a day.
suspicious, and Leland said, "Oh wow, why are you so paranoid?"
That was so
that is
good.
why I
That
was
was so
paranoid.
Yeah, you were like, why are we having drinks with these people? And Buzz like, they're nice people, Elena.
Leland's like, "Who hurt you?" And then it's like,
You did!
You hurt me
Repeatedly! And we keep coming back for more.
Okay, but here, did Lushki and
Olfa?
Olfa, thank you. I wanted to say Olaf, but I knew that was wrong. Did Lushki and Olfa endear themselves to Mia and Shakara respectively, though?
No.
Yes.
What do you mean no? Come on, Shakara liked Olfa. Olfa and Shakara.
Oh, Shakara was
You
annoyed and
did.
tolerating Olfa.
No, you liked her.
No.
Mia was like, "Oh, I shouldn't be suspicious. Okay, we friends. The DM said we good." You been in Barrack? Okay.
Oh, I know your family.
Oh, you know Braun? All right. Oh my gosh. It's so funny to hear back, like hear yourself say something, and then you're like, should have listened to myself. Should have listened to my gut. Oh man.
You know what? I remember editing. I think it was 172 when Horik was giving his little speech to the rest of the orcs, and I remember editing that and putting in that music because it was after he had already got disintegrated, and I was editing and I'm like I was legitimately very sad listening to him try to instill hope to like his people, knowing that he would
Clash.
be very shortly dead.
You meant Clash, not Horik.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I
Sorry.
did mean Clash. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I mean, Horik does give
Like
a good
Horik
speech.
had a
so.
speech.
That was legitimately I'm with you on that one. That
That
was kind of
moment
sad.
was like silent. Like we were like, what?
Yeah, I was legitimately like taken aback because I was really feeling for Clash. I was rooting for him,
I didn't think to warn him.
and
like,
then he was just gone.
well, wasn't this also because I didn't want to spend a spell slot?
What? You didn't want to spend a spell slot?
That's the theme of this batch of episodes. I think.
Oh my god!
I
It's
think
all on Mia's shoulders.
it is.
She's to
It's
blame.
completely Mia's fault. I think this is the best batch of 3 ever. Best batch of 3 so far.
Wait, what? There was
Seven?
1, 2.
And 2, I think I've lost my train of thought because of how great this batch of 3 was. Now I forget what the second part was. Maybe it'll come back to me. Oh, okay. So I honestly, everything that happened in these 7 episodes, I mean, there's no way I could have foreseen any of it happening the way it happened. Like I know there was nothing that I could have predicted any of these outcomes. One, because like any character or NPC could have been holding that chest plate when that light came down. Any one of you could easily.
So it's
have
not
been
just
holding
wearing it; it's holding it. Yeah.
if you had it in your hand, if you were in the, if you had it like on your person, you would have been toast. Like it would have hit wherever it was at the time. And I just knew in the 5th round of combat is when that was going to happen. So whatever happened in those 5 rounds of combat,
So if we
Wow.
hadn't gone with Clash to the caves and he had given us the breastplate and we had taken
One of
off,
us.
it would have been in Shaft's bag of holding.
A different plane.
So would the light still have come down?
That's an interesting question. Very interesting question.
So Leland basically was okay with just disintegrating one of us.
That's what I'm hearing.
Here's what he just said: 5th round of combat. So he knew it wasn't like going to happen if we had it in our possession and didn't follow.
All this time, I've been saying, no, Leland's not evil. Just give him the benefit of the doubt.
He's just misunderstood.
I've been wrong.
Did you hear his cackling when he rolled well? Hello. Every time he had good rolls, he's like,
These were combats were really fun, and they were fun, I think, for both sides.
for you.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
they were.
all right.
They were.
They were good combats, definitely.
It stretched me. Like, do I pick Shakar up now and then not? I can't revive later. Like, those are decisions that were made. You know.
Well, I think this is finally an example of what an adventuring day, or what the toll of an adventuring day is generally supposed to be for a party, right? We don't often have days like this, and have not had days like this in our campaign, where you're stretched. There's many smaller incursions. I mean, as we found though, like the 2 of the 3 still to prove to be pretty deadly, but they stretch you and they test your limits and they put you to the max. And we're in that tier of play where like this is what you should be expecting now.
Yeah.
But barring, of course, another 70 episodes of Heraklion roleplay.
Oh, if we only had have
the
known how good we
Heraklion
had it in
Chronicles.
Heraklion.
So I did want to clear the air on one thing because it was brought up. Dropping the bag.
Oh
right?
my
When
gosh.
Shaft drops the bag. And I think I brought it up in a later episode. Just because I do something for a dramatic effect doesn't mean you have to do something, Leland.
Like sliding the sword across the ice or whatever. You said it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought for a second I was going to give Falzarin the bag and drop a different bag on the ground and say, come and get it. But the heat of the moment, I did it, and then I went, well, I already did it, whatever.
A bag laid is a bag played.
But I didn't expect somebody to grab the damn thing and take off running, first off.
Oh, that's the point.
And technically, I could have got an opportunity attack there, but we weren't in combat, so I thought I would not expect it. So I didn't say anything like, wait a second.
I was it was surprise round, yada yada yada. It'll flub it.
Exactly.
Listen, John, that fight, Shaft and Mia, yet again, John and Elena forget about the shackles. So I'm like trying to fly over my blades to come get you. But then the next episode, it's like, all I do is remember my shackles. Like, when they come get me, I can, if I'm not stunned, I can, like... So, why are we so bad at remembering my shackles?
I bought little toy shackles, and I was going to send you a pair, and I forgot.
You were going to buy me
Oh,
shackles?
no.
Yeah, I got shackles for you, Elena.
We can add them to our
those
collection.
ones?
Yeah.
Oh,
Cute.
Yeah, look at that.
Okay, John, you put it on your car keys, I'll put it on my car keys. And it's like winning.
There you go.
Best friends!
Shackle buds.
Shackle buddies.
You guys should get tattoos. Matching tattoos.
shackles right on your arm, right on your.
But when Emily ships stuff to Canada, she has to claim it for customs. So when I read Piglet, I was like, yeah! I was so excited. It's like, says right on the Piglet. All right.
I was going to say, I think that fight was a good, because that was the Killian thing that came in. I never got to listen to the interaction you had at the end of 171. You said we could listen to it, but I didn't get a chance.
I didn't yet.
But you spoke with Killian. I don't know what the dynamic was there.
TLDR.
Well, first I want to ask, Killian has scars on his cheek. Is that, like Indigo Montoya? John?
I don't remember. That was a long time ago.
I mean, it would make me love you more if it was, so I'm just saying.
Sure.
Hi.
Oh, you know what? I'm looking at my notes. I do have it noted that John purposefully added this in for Emily, should it ever come up. Very thoughtful, John.
There you go. Thanks, Leland. I'm glad you remembered that.
What a wingman.
Princess Bride surprise.
So, Ulfa took me over, said she had somebody that I needed to meet. Killian was a bastard.
Ulfa successfully lured you over by endearing herself to Shakara with a fight
No.
and a drink.
Emily squinting like she was not in
No.
What do you mean, no? Come on, Shakara bit it hook, line, and sinker. You were like, all right, new best friend, let's go get. Yeah, you want to join Dengar's family? Let's go.
No. Killian was a bastard. He said, this is what's going to happen. And I said, no, this is what's going to happen. And he said, I don't think so. And I said, yeah. And he said, I can recognize a threat when I see one. And I said, yeah, damn well. And then Telmark came in and said a whole bunch of babble stuff. And
I like this. I like this summary. Like,
So
A bunch of
you
babble
two
stuff.
are argumentative with each other, unlike you and Chad.
exactly. Basically, I tried to explain to him that plans had changed. The information he had from Isabella was old. I was now in charge. I was taking care of it. He can just tootle off. And he said, no, I'm going to do it this way. And so I tried to make a compromise with him. And the plan was Ulfa was going to steal the breastplate from Clash, run off and meet Killian, and I was potentially going to follow. And then all of us were going to go to Heraklion and give the breastplate to Izzy. And the gauntlets if we could get them also.
Well, I'm glad he's dead. Who actually killed him? I can't remember. It's probably Falzarin,
Probably.
right?
It was Falzarin with the magic missile.
Probably.
with magic missile.
Yeah.
No way.
Lishki had revivified Killian after Shakara, I believe, struck him down, or somebody did.
Really?
And then, yeah,
Lishki.
Lishki knows how
Betrayal.
to keep a revivify back, yeah. And then Falzarin magic missile there.
Lushki seemed tight. She's like, yeah, if Clash doesn't want to give it up, I get it. I'll be on your side. I'll fight
Of course.
Clash,
So
you know?
I hope the listener picked up in that episode, because the conversation that Lushki had with Mia was very similar to the conversation that Ulfa had with Shakara. Both of them kind of inquired to either characters, do you trust who you're with? How long have you been with? Like that kind of stuff, like the very probative questions. Essentially, I don't know, maybe trying to sow doubt or see if there was a fissure in the party cohesiveness, I suppose. But honestly, like listening, they both asked each of you like individually pretty much the same questions. And the conversation kind of veered, depending on the character, of course. Lushki tried to make it seem like she was a fan of the Brightwoods.
Oh, dude, she sucked up hard.
Yeah, she totally did.
And I didn't realize it, because, you told me not to be paranoid, so I listened to you, and I'm an idiot. And...
Ulfa totally threw that fight that we had, didn't she? She held back and let Shakara win.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the first. That's the first thing that could have maybe went differently. If Ulfa had landed some hits, you would have been more damaged going into this series of fights, right?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, in the ambush, probably wouldn't have made a difference, because I think you set it up and you put yourselves in that advantageous position, and it paid off here. The wall of force in front of the cave, chef kiss,
Yes.
Falsey. Very, very
Yes.
good move.
Would
Despite
have been nice if he had told
regardless,
the rest of us.
even though you didn't let anybody know. But that was
You can't
great.
bask in the glory of something nobody
I
knows.
got to use that cool blade spell or whatever that I've never used. That was dope.
Yeah, and then in the Killian battle, the blade barriers are really cool.
That was very nice,
Spell.
too.
That
It's
was
a
great.
cool spell. I was like, I have a spell for this.
So also, I don't know if any of the listeners picked up the Killian party is pretty close to a mirror of your party. Ulfa is a paladin, Telmark's the wizard, Lushki cleric. Killian he's a ranger rogue. He's actually a level 10 rogue, level 5 ranger. So we have the extra attack and a very deadly
that
sneak
high
attack.
level?
Yeah, pretty high level.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't pick that up in the moment, but
Yeah, so if Ulfa hadn't died at the ambush, the Killian fight would have gone differently as well.
It could have been more challenging
Yeah.
for sure, yeah.
Pretty evenly matched.
maybe even outmatched a little bit.
I'm just glad we didn't go into that cave, at the end.
Oh yeah.
Especially if there's
No
a
thanks.
Yogi god in there.
Yeah.
Well, if you,
At least his body, right? Because he hasn't met him; he's met his body.
I mean, honestly, I was expecting the fight to move into that cave, right? Because the Nyogi were going to flee. I assumed you would probably Clash would have chased for sure, right?
Yeah.
So I was kind of expecting it to be in there. You would have got a little bit of insight into what's going on in there. You would have gleaned a little more about the Nyogi, perhaps. With Clash's death now, there was a bunch of mountain lore that you could have probed him on as you were walking towards the ambush, but the party, you all do not ask many questions.
Yeah, you told
Quite
us
frankly,
that. Yeah.
you do not ask many questions. Even when Thuff the Younger comes along and we get a like, I reckon that Thuff you say, and that's about it. You don't really ask him more than where he's from or who the fuck he is.
Different
Knowing
mountains.
the name, but
All right.
Well,
Yeah.
I probed a little bit. He gave a little bit of information.
yeah,
right?
he told you he was from a range of mountains. Yeah.
Yeah, not these mountains.
He seems a little more sassy than the original Thuft.
Well, he's an
got some
emissary.
sass.
He's
I
important.
love
Right, but
that
you don't.
word.
You
I
don't
love
know
how
who
he
is.
says that
you
word.
have no idea who he is.
I'm an emissary. I just love the way he says it.
So Thuff the Younger was a patron-created NPC. So I hope Thuff the Younger turned out as well as imagined.
Round of applause.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, like, yeah, I had him. He poked up in the cave right at the ambush, and then you kind of skirted the cave system. I'm like, oh, okay, there goes the NPC, I guess.
You ruined it.
So
Of course we ruined it.
as the original Thuft was, Thuft the Younger can be very curious. You're right, he is quite sassy. So he was observing you all with the chest plate, and
He's smart. He knows a tiny hut.
he knows what
you
a
know?
tiny hut is. You piqued his interest, so he decided to follow you. So, have you connected the dots with the Dragon Riders and what they were looking for Thuff the Younger?
Oh, okay.
Totally. Yeah, we totally knew
definitely
that.
Yep.
Well, that's because he put a dagger up to his neck and they took off. He's of some importance, right?
Right. You kind of saw
Obviously.
before you had met him that clearly the Nyogi, you're right. He's of some import to the Nyogi, which again was advantageous for you.
And now that we're going to be fighting for the Nyogi, I guess we need to befriend him and
Yeah,
be
you
good
better play
Now that
nice
we're-
with Thuff the Younger.
All in for destroying
You know what?
Aspara. It's just
I think this is probably it's always seemed like it's going to be really, really difficult to win this campaign, but it's so much easier now because we just side with the Nyogi.
you're now on the winning side.
They've
I
already
agree.
got the upper hand. Now their odds are just a little bit better with us on their side.
It's funny when we ask Clash, we're like, oh, so 100 in your group, and he's like 100 total. We're like, oh.
Let's go assassinate Samuel, take all the armor, go kill Izzy, and then we'll live in harmony
Dude,
with
Shaft
the
would be
Nyogi.
a beast. Let's give the full armor to Shaft. He's got 4 attacks or
what
whatever
could
the
go
crap
wrong?
he got.
I like it.
Shaft and Shikara, the damage they were dealing in the last battle, holy crap!
I like that.
I mean, with
sword.
your smites, yeah, Shakar, I don't know where those smites have been all my life, but woo, you gotta whip them out a little more often here, girl.
I'd like to say I could have helped, but I mean, I would have just been hammer attacking anyway.
That 51 damage is... I couldn't believe it when you said 51
Well,
damage.
I mean, that's the sword. That's 3 dice for the sword. It's a D8 and 2D6 when
Yeah.
I fuego, and then the smite's another 2D8. And then if I upcast the smite, that's even more. And then if it gets undead, it's even more. So let's go fight some undead.
That is wild.
Anyway, not to
You
let
should have
Trisha
let
fight,
Almar
but-
become a lich.
Yeah.
I would have taken him down.
Would he be anti-Nyogi? Because at this point, Mia's like, all right, maybe we should have.
I'm pretty sure Almar would be anti-Nyogi, yeah.
As long as they
trouble is
went to
that-
Heraklion. If they didn't come
We're
to Heraklion.
killing our allies. What is happening?
Well, the trouble with the Lich is you never know what, I
You
think
never
they're just
know
such
how
a
many
wild
licks
card.
it takes to get to the center of a... Oh, sorry.
A Litchi Pop?
Ew. It's already gooey out of the package.
Oh, no.
You know what? I regretted saying it as soon as I said it.
Okay, how much hot water do you think Shakara is in, Emily, with Isabella?
Well,
Oh, right, that happened. You had to
yeah, she's not happy,
rebel.
is she?
What did she say to you? She said something.
Said that I'm
right?
in trouble.
No.
She said that to Mia after Shakara insisted Mia use a 3rd level spell slot.
Which I could have
The
used.
level of Revivify.
Oh, no.
All my sending spells, listen, Mia has regrets. There's regrets. Okay.
Yeah, so it took me a while to realize, and it should have been obvious, that Isabella doesn't want Samuel to have all of the armor because that's how they, got rid of Dendar in the first place. But it wasn't just Samuel.
Someone in the Zelwick line, as well as someone in the Cultist line using all of the armor, successfully banished Dendar and the other one.
Father Limit.
Limmick.
Yes.
Both of them got the banhammer. That's right.
But my argument is, Isabella doesn't know that Shakara knows that. So, as far as Isabella knows, Shakara is fine giving all the armor to Samuel because he's getting rid of the Nyogi. And we're getting the eyes in exchange. And that's what Isabella wants.
We're getting the eyes listened to. You're such a cult member.
When you left Heraklion, you left Heraklion to retrieve the gauntlets was the original, and then Samuel kind of changed the deal a little bit and threw in the amulet, which you don't know really what Isabella thought of that, right?
Right.
Anytime you're with Izzy in Samuel's presence, Izzy was very skittish, right? Very subdued, which is
subservient.
Quite unlike her. Subservient, exactly. That's a perfect word. You think that's the only reason that Izzy wants the armor on Heraklion?
I don't know.
Well, still good magical equipment, right? Regardless.
Yeah, but what would she do with it? Okay, so in her thinking, so if she gets the eyes, she can summon back Dendar, and then Dendar can just wipe out the Nyogi. No problem. Not a worry. So the only thing I could figure is she doesn't want Samuel to have the armor because she doesn't want one person having all that power. I don't know another reason why she would want it.
Yeah, I think the significance of Heraklion is that it seems to be a location that has some sort of I forget if it was described as having a unique magical power there, or if there was a weakening of the border between planes of existence, which could be used to, potentially get Dendar back to our plane of existence more easily. I forget exactly what the details were.
Maybe she needs more than the eyes to bring Dendar back?
Maybe, I guess.
Since the armor was used to banish her, she needs the armor to bring her back?
Yeah, I had always just assumed that the eyes would do it.
Me too.
That could be.
I haven't assumed anything. I don't think about these things. This is my problem.
I keep thinking about them. I don't stop thinking about them. Why? Why is Izzy doing this?
Well, if she brings Dendar back, she doesn't want anybody to banish him again, so...
Will
care
Dendar
of the
kill a
problem.
Nyogi? Let's do this. Mia doesn't care anymore.
Now he is ready to join the family.
I'll join the cult. Sign me
Yeah,
up.
but
Let's go.
see, Dendar won't stop at the Nyogi.
No.
Okay.
And Leland specifically, Leland was very, what's the word?
Handsome, intelligent.
chose-
No,
Yeah.
that wasn't it. No.
Sleeveless, maybe.
Sleeveless, yeah.
He, I think he chose his words wisely when he asked, why does Isabella want the armor on Heraklion? Not just want the armor on Heraklion.
Do I do anything wisely?
Yes. I think you think about your words.
Listen, you're wiser than we give you credit for. That's why when you say stop being paranoid, I listen to you. And then I regrets. So many regrets. Mia's just in a world of...
So maybe the armor is needed to bring Dendar back. It's not just the eyes.
Maybe, yeah.
What? Why would the armor be needed?
Well, maybe we made a wrong assumption that the eyes were all that was needed to bring Dender back.
What if you need the eyes to get her back, but then the armor goes to Dender?
The armor to get her back, and then the eyes to make her whole and give her back all her power.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That would make a lot more sense actually, because the armor was what was used to banish. So it naturally that would lead to the conclusion that the armor could be used to unbanish.
Yeah.
And then the eyes
The reverse
are
banish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even more reason to get it to Sammy. Let them fight it out.
Yeah, but Nyogi. That's all I care about.
We just
so
need to bring
whatever.
popcorn.
And we need to go back to the cave to talk to our new god.
Oh my! I know. Don't.
All hail!
Mia.
That's gonna bite us in the
Yeah.
ass.
No.
Mia has like devoted her whole being in this world to like destroying what she's become.
So before you accepted that deal, it wasn't very clear that Thuff the Younger specifically served a Nyogi god, right? You kind of didn't let him explain.
Right.
It was more
Really?
like,
yeah.
I mean, he said, "You want to piss off my god?" And Shakar's like, "Who the hell is your god?" Essentially.
I mean, I think we knew we had a minute, right?
Sure. Yeah. Exactly.
And
Elena forgot for Mia about the Revivify minute. And for some reason I thought, okay, we'll just take his body in the body bag of holding. We'll figure it out tomorrow. That's me forgetting, not Mia.
hey, under pressure makes bad decisions, which makes great role play.
Body bag.
Well, I think on the bright side, at least,
Maybe.
on the bright side, it's not Falzarin who's on the hook this time.
That's true. Thuff the Younger really made that very clear to all of you.
Yeah, you were like, who do I owe this time? We're like, we owe.
So maybe if we just sacrifice you back to him, we'd be even.
Well. You don't know the terms of the deal yet. Let's not get ahead of
I
ourselves.
like that thought.
We're gonna find out the terms at the worst possible
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
So that's all
Okay,
that matters.
so like I alluded to, like obviously I could not have possibly have planned Thuff the Younger's role in what happened in 177, right?
Where did that come from? Like on the spot?
Yes, yeah. Pretty much since once the Paladins got to you all, that was all just off the cuff stuff that as we were playing.
Is that because as Leland you didn't want Falzarin to die?
Maybe it was a soft. Maybe I
You
maybe
had a choice in that moment, right?
subconsciously. I
Yeah.
suppose I did, to just let him be dead.
You can admit it. You love Falzarin.
How much more interesting is it to have 3/4 of the party owe a Nyogi god than
Definitely.
to have a dead PC?
100%.
Right? Like,
That's what was on your mind right there. You weren't like, I love Falzarin, I want to die. You're like, what bind can I put the party in?
how
That's
much
Elena.
more can I twist the knife here? Right.
Stop it.
yes.
So
Stop it,
so
Elena.
so what Thuff the Younger had described it as kind of being like similar to like a divine intervention. He was literally calling out to Klak for like, hey,
How do you
look,
spell that?
look what you got. I actually do have it written in my notes. There's a lot of apostrophes in there. So it wasn't like you didn't have the small little window like Mia's divine intervention is, right? Like yours is very difficult to pull off.
It's my level. It's rolling a D100. It's my level or lower.
Yeah, that's tough.
Right. So even at max level, that's still pretty.
It's 20%.
Yeah, exactly. It's still pretty
Yeah.
difficult. Now, Falzarin's was a lot easier. One, because the circumstances are a little different. Obviously, Thuff the Younger's connection is a little different. Like Thuff the Younger isn't a cleric, right? Like, so you had a pretty good percentage chance to basically be noticed by the god, essentially. I mean, I would say in the position and where the party is, and kind of what's going on, it's a pretty good deal for the Nyogi god, right? Like,
Oh, definitely.
the four of you are
Yeah.
very powerful, incredibly powerful. So I think it's a pretty good deal for the Nyogi
He
god.
can be a bit of a trickster, we've heard.
That's also true, yeah.
Like if we don't think about it, it's not there. That was
Great.
thing.
Like, okay, let's just head down, power through.
I don't think we give Leland enough credit for how much he can go with the flow of what we throw at him and come up with
yeah.
things.
The ability to ad lib and improvise, like, my
Think on your
goodness.
feet.
9 times out of 10, I assume most of what has happened in a play session, Leland like had already brainstormed ahead of time, only to find out afterwards that like a lot of it was ad lib, and I just don't understand how you do it. I couldn't do it.
I mean, I had a feeling the Thuff thing was like ad lib, but also I was like, dang. Like, I don't know. I mean, basically, what would Bill be doing? Playing Grimby the rest of the campaign? Come on, he can't do the voice. Like,
And he can't play telemarketer anymore.
I will hint at session 178 is a Falzarin solo episode, which the rest of the party will not be able to listen to. So strap in for that one, listener, because it's a bit of a ride.
and don't talk to us in Discord openly about it.
Right, yeah, spoiler tag anything if you're going to be talking about that episode.
We're gonna need a new channel just specifically for that episode.
Well, I just remember you guys set a time to record or whatever, and you thought, okay, 15-minute little scene or something, and it turned into a whole episode, right?
It did, yeah.
And that's probably off the cuff.
It was
going to
be like a post-credit, like an extended post-credit is what I was thinking of it, but...
Oh.
And honestly, it's going to be a very good episode.
It says...
I can't wait not to listen to it.
Yeah, same.
I'm a little bit biased, but I think it's pretty good.
You could feel the knife twisting, and it feels bad, but you also know it feels good. Because, like, for the listener, like, whew, man, that's the stuff, right?
It hurts so good.
When we were fighting those things, were you trying to give us a little hint with what was inside, that it was going to blow up at the end, or were you just trying to say that it had some kind of a heat source within inside of it? I mean,
It was a bit of both, right? Like, because it was a hinge at the immunities, like damage. It wasn't resistant; it was just immune.
You straight up had to tell Bill, do not use your.
Don't use. It was immune to cold and fire damage. All of those things
Yeah.
were.
Bill was oblivious to that, and you had to straight up tell him.
But the little guys didn't have death burst. It was only the big one that had the burst.
well, that did it. That was how many hit points I had.
Yeah.
If that would have been one less, we would have
You were
been
so
a different
close.
situation.
Yeah.
Well, I can't believe that I rolled a nat 20 on Mia's first death save.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
After I had a fail, right? Because I was stunned.
Yeah. So I
Oh
have.
my
That reminds me,
God.
I have the fails. So
Oh, man.
Shaft had a fail, the first one before he got stabilized. Falzarin, when he first went down, he had a success and then a fail. And then the second time, it was 3 fails.
Oh wow. Well, I took damage from falling, right? So that was a fail.
That was an auto.
And then Mia had her auto, and then she critted. What did I have for Shakara?
I don't think you got to me.
Oh, that's right, because we didn't need you because you went
Yeah, it was
down
the
in
next
the round.
turn. Yeah.
Horik had 3 successes. Bada bing, bada boom,
Nice.
bada boom. Horik was fine.
Let's go.
Go Hork.
Go
Sounds
Horik.
about right.
Do we regret going across the lake rather than sticking through the woods?
No.
Well, so at the time,
Think of
my
the time we
thinking-
saved.
The time we spent exploring these huts, I think, was honestly the bigger waste of time. Because the babies were there in the huts, right?
There were eggs.
The eggs were there, yeah.
The eggs, right. That's what I mean, the babies. But, like, I don't know.
Yeah, but the reason we stopped was because we had a dragon that was trying to kill us, and it was the only place that we were seemingly safe from the dragon.
Yeah, so if we had stayed on land, we probably would have fought that dragon.
That's what I was going to say. My thinking was that this dragon is patrolling the woods. So if we go via the woods, we're going to get found by this dragon, and it's going to kill us.
Hindsight, we fight the dragon and probably succeed more than we would against all these. The paladins would come and meet us
I don't know.
at the wood line.
Was the dragon attacking the paladins when it was off in the distance and we could hear the screams and the...
Yeah.
Okay, so it disengaged with them to come and get us.
Well, you originally saw 2 dragons, and were only chased by 1.
So yeah, I didn't know if the other one turned around or if it got killed.
These things can stun you? Dragons can't stun you. Stun was freaking
The stun
brutal.
was brutal.
And the death burst? Dragons don't have death burst.
Editing 176. I couldn't believe that I had a second screech go off. I was like, I can't believe I did that to them because that's nasty.
Listener, if you notice,
It made it exciting.
The screech was made by yours truly.
I was wondering. If it was
No,
you.
that screech is me actually.
Really?
What? Are you serious?
It sounded like Elena.
I did a screech
During recording, I
down-pitched
made
it.
the screech,
Oh, did you?
and you didn't. Yeah, and you didn't use it. Okay, I thought it was mine.
I don't.
Alright.
I don't even remember that being in the edit, but I made one and then I down pitched it and I did some effects to it. So yeah, that was actually me.
Well, when you do that, you
Okay.
sound like Elena.
Yours truly, I mean
Yeah.
Leland.
You use the Elena filter?
Yeah, that's right.
I really thought it was a noise I made. Sorry. Wow.
I really am not convinced that going up against the dragon would have been a better choice. Like, dragons are incredibly dangerous foes,
What
are they
size
not?
dragon was it? Large?
I think Leland described it as being a very large dragon.
Yeah. I think they were adults. I had them as.
They're scary.
How many hit points did the ice thing?
Yeah,
have?
let's compare stats here, bro.
Okay, so the babies they had 73 hit points each, and where is the adult? The adult had 195.
How many does an adult ice dragon have?
And listener, I now know that a white dragon does not have a fire breath.
An adult
so-
an adult white dragon has 200 hit points
Yeah, right
Oh
in the
yeah,
middle there,
2 dragons would have still probably
Plus the
been easier.
Neogi.
plus the Neogi, and you would have run into the paladins for sure. I also want to
Paladins could
say
have helped
how
us,
much
yeah.
the weather dye is impacting the life in the mountains. Like it's actually pretty dope because again, Emily rolled the winds that essentially negated anything the paladins could do from a distance. Like
Yeah.
having disadvantage on those arrows. If they were hitting every one of those shots, that could have been a different fight too, right?
Yeah.
It has impact. The fog impacted us. The wind. Again, Falzarin, sorry, but like, if you're just gonna go do a cantrip or some crap like 10 feet away from a big beast, maybe you'd be better used by going to pick up these paladins on your broom or some crap next time, you know?
Legitimately, maybe, but those are my choices.
You
I
said
could use cantrips or nothing.
I don't know if I should do this.
I was considering hitting this thing with my staff in melee combat because
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
No, that's historically. If he comes in right after we hit it a bunch of times, he kills it.
Good.
Sure,
So,
but like a
therefore,
D4 is a staff, right? Or something? Like
It doesn't
why?
matter. It doesn't matter. He comes in and kills it with 1 hit point. That's the thing. See,
I felt way less bad for him dying after listening back.
Oh,
because
wow.
you had a million opportunities.
I'm with you, Falzer, and I want you right there with me on the front line.
To Bill's defense, the problem was the other cantrips that would put him at range were fire and ice, which we knew
yes,
were doing nothing.
Sure.
So that's the thing. That's a predicament. That's part of the
Fair
predicament.
enough.
Before that predicament, after the Killian fight, he spent some of those first level spells identifying some things, which could have been real handy for some
my
more chromatic orbs
gosh.
in the fight on the lake, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been up poison spraying. You would have been back chromatic orbing. You probably would have been outside of the death burst, so you wouldn't have been fine that way.
Who goaded him into using those identify spells?
Elena.
You know,
Elena.
I can't remember who was that.
You know what, though? I picked you back up when you were down, so shut up.
So you identify
Listen,
when I
the
tell you to
healer-
identify.
The healer showed
It was
up
totally
to battle,
Leland.
and she healed until she couldn't heal anymore. Ow, my hand.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, it was. You were saying stuff, and you're like, "Are you sure you don't want to just identify? You could just use a spell. Spell will be real quick. You don't have to spend 10 minutes to ritual cast that. You could just cast off a spell real quick. It's first level."
I do remember the shield thing. I was like, I don't need to know. I'm not going to two-handed shield. Like,
You could have taken the 10 minutes original gas. If you had done that, Thuff the Younger would have caught up to you.
we could have subdued him
good or
ourselves.
bad?
Like, oh my gosh, I don't know.
He can't be that powerful. He's just one goblin.
He's a little goblin.
But he's an emissary.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's very important. He's a VIP.
He's a missionary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
G.
G.
Very important goblin. Oh, there's just so many different ways it could have, like, what happened, right?
Unfortunately.
Any regrets? Because Mia's got regrets. So.
If I had to redo it, I probably would have stayed back a little bit.
You've been useless in battle before, just blinking around doing nothing.
Wow. I was at least trying to do things.
Facts.
But the dice just weren't working in my favor. I did feel completely helpless. Like was like, if I stay at range, which is what I typically do, I have nothing I can do to damage anything. And I was like, I'm just gonna sit here and watch my party members die.
I can relate. I feel like that was it was a 2-on-3 or whatever it was. Like, I could not get out of those stuns.
Yeah, that was rough. That was really
and
rough.
Ice. And I was like, if I die, I guess I was prepared to die.
It's one thing to be subdued by an enemy. It's another thing to be free and able to fight and to be powerless to do any damage.
I did write down this quote from episode 176. Elena says, "Is that accurate? Your health thing?" And Bill says, Yeah, I'm almost dead.
Well, we were all right there at the end.
And I described for the listener, I was like, at one point I was like, I'm at like 1/8 of health. Like,
But isn't that funny how today, we're sitting there with looking down at our hit points and we have just, a fraction and we're still going at it. There wasn't any running.
there's nowhere to run. Yeah, but like where to run?
Yeah, I considered trying to convince the party to run, but we're out in the middle of a big lake against this massive monster.
We even used the invisibility spells like ahead of time. Like there was so much. Like kudos to you, Leland. You whittled our resources down so well. and then we get this.
Yeah, Leland. Thanks. It's all your fault for the things that we chose to do.
If Mia didn't get stunned, what would the plan have gone ahead, right? You still could have, Shaft could have, and I guess in this event Shaft also would not have been able to have been stunned, right? But if Shaft could have kept moving, and then Mia, you would have the ability to shackle away from this thing.
Perhaps we start running. 2 people behind us, though. Like, I really don't know at this point if Mia would look behind her and if they're not able to catch up or keep up.
Yeah, my thought was, we're all invisible, run as far away from these things as we could. You stand there. They obviously weren't going to attack you. Then you walk into one of the buildings.
Well, the dragon
From
wasn't going to attack
their
me.
perspective, the dragon sees you walk into a building. You're in the building. And then you pop to me, and we're half mile down the road, and we can just keep on going.
That would have been a great plan, but these things that came up would attack me. It was the dragon was the original.
Well, yeah, but the elemental thing wouldn't have attacked if we hadn't been making a lot of noise and
hubbub.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If we had have stuck to that original plan, things probably would have went better.
Well, the original plan though, didn't foresee Mia being stunned and unable to get away from this thing.
Right.
The 3 of you aren't going to run through the 4 of you, including Hork. You 4 aren't going to run away from Mia, invisible and fine, knowing she's frozen, right, and stupefied.
Right.
The odds were eventually I could break it before I die, hopefully.
But so that plan was set into motion before that thing emerged from the ice.
Yes.
It's true. It just didn't all line up.
Perhaps it may not have emerged if we had have pursued that plan and just started to flee invisible, and Mia just stands there.
It's the same thing with Clash in the breastplate. It just didn't line. Things didn't line up perfectly.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So
Some things
you got to make lemonade. Yeah. I genuinely once I realized I couldn't bring Falzarin back the next day or something because I'm dumb and forget how spells work. It didn't feel like acting. I was sincerely upset and do something. My pleading to the frickin' goblin was legit. I felt so bad.
I think when you said he was dead, there was silence for a little while.
Yeah, I didn't have a whole lot to say.
And
exhales.
running through my mind was, okay, what possibility do we have? We have to have some kind of a thing we can do.
Well, and even there, we all had a reaction moment. But
Yeah.
then I was like, oh, I can bring her back. Whatever reason I went into that.
I didn't think there was a way.
No, and that's because you remembered I said I had no spell
First I
slot.
said, I think we have options. And I was like, God, I don't know what the hell options we got.
I literally said I'm going to save my 4th level spell slot. And then when Shakara goes down, I cured wounds on her. 15 hit points versus revivifying. Like, it happened.
When I was listening back to that episode, do clerics have healing cantrips? Like, do you have any healing cantrips? Or no? So it's like when you use up your spell slots, you're out of luck.
Out of healing, yeah. I have a spare the dying, so like if you're doing death saves, if you're at the saving throw part, I can instantly like you're succeeded. So I did spare the dying on one of you.
Shakara. You spared the dying Shakara before Falzarin. Had you done it the other way
this
around?
This is the most cleric-y Mia's ever been. And she failed. And she hates herself.
That's kind of harsh that clerics don't have healing cantrips.
Well, there's just those don't exist. You can't give a player
BOP. It would be overpowered.
access to an endless supply of healing.
Yeah. I was just thinking it would be like a D4 or something, but even so, I see your point.
Yeah, it would render resting like pointless if you had a cleric, right? Other than I suppose getting your class abilities and that stuff, but like if you took a short rest for an hour, just have Mia poking everybody D4 D4 for an hour,
right?
like every 6
right.
seconds.
And the D4. Speaking of that, I had like the greater healing spell or whatever it was, and I rolled terribly low. What like at that point, what does it really matter? I was just trying to keep people up.
I don't know. So did this fight change how you're gonna play Mia?
I just know walking out of this battle, like Mia feels like absolutely feels like a failure. She feels like she failed and then had to succumb, maybe unknowingly, like you said. Maybe I wouldn't have like been okay with the Niyogi god reviving him or something, but I don't know. Mia's feeling messed up right now. Like she would have rather died instead of Falzarin. It's a type of feeling.
And then you wouldn't know the Niyogi got the favor.
Yeah, like I'd rather be dead than owe a Niyogi god a favor, sort of. Like,
At this level, this is what combat's gonna be.
Yeah.
I mean, it can swing really heavily.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe could you store Revivify?
Well, okay, so Britt did ask the question about my pendant of legendary actions. I unattuned to it to
For the cube.
Be attuned to the cube
Oh, yeah.
and the shackles and the circlet, because those were the priorities at the time. And I didn't have any high level spells that were really worth storing on there anyway. I have to have the spell slot available.
Yeah.
So even if in this next long rest, if we get one, like I choose to reattune to that, like I don't have anything I can store. Like I'm it would have to take a long rest, I guess. But
Yeah, I think that decision makes sense in hindsight, but it just was a series of unfortunate events that, yeah.
hey man, at this point, like Mia might, because of how bad she feels like she failed, like reattune to that. And it's no longer a pendant with 3 actions. It's 2 plus a revivify that just sits on there until it's needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the blue light's probably not a danger necessarily to us anymore, right?
Probably not.
Yeah, you might get away with not worrying about being attuned to the cubes for now. I don't know what the I don't know what comes next after you actually get to the paladin camp, right?
I wonder how they transport the eyes if it's their ring of power and they can only hold it for so long and then they have to switch off to somebody else before they become corrupted by it.
It's just like the dynamic of our situation has totally changed. Like Shakara isn't crap with Izzy.
I don't think that's anything new, really.
Yeah, that's status quo there.
I think she seriously regrets making me a sister.
Mia's upset about the Niyogi god situation. I don't know what Shaft thinks, but he doesn't like owing anyone anything, I'm sure. And then Falzarin's now, whatever happens in the solo episode, like, probably got some weird crap going on.
Gonna grow a long neck.
You're the guys who owe
Dude, if you start looking hairy with 8 legs and stuff, like...
Start secreting web from your butthole.
Well, yeah, we made a joke about him growing an eel neck, and Shakara looks at him closely. Like,
Well, I think Mia's just pretending it didn't happen.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
think
denial.
Shaft
Total
is
denial.
going, I'll figure it out when it happens. Maybe I can make some kind of deal to get out of this somehow.
Mia is hoping her relationship with Thor is strong enough that he'll do something. I don't know. It's worked before.
Yeah, you got like a 11 out of 100 chance.
Next week. So how many days are we? We got 4 more days.
Shaft,
dear.
or John, how do you feel about how Killian met his end and how that wrapped up?
How do I feel about it? Well, I think there was a tension there that I wanted to get a closure with. I think we did, but I didn't. It wasn't closure like it was a one-on-one kind of, stab him in the end to give him the what for kind of thing at the end. But it was still satisfying knowing that he was an arrogant ass and we took him out. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. I mean, it all sort of happened so fast, right? I mean, it just sort of, they came up and that's what, dropping the bag and that kind of thing was the.
It was just your word flare happening, and Leland took advantage of it, honestly.
It's great.
No, I
It's
like it.
great
I mean, I
word
think
flare.
that's great.
You'd be a fool not to.
John likes the word flare.
No, I think but it's another one of the many, many little threads that you have weaved out that now has been cut and done, right? So I like, as the story goes along, those little things, those little pieces that finally come to an end. It's sort of, I really like how that's all, because you never know when that's going to happen. That's what's great about it.
I have to say that I, again, was not expecting it to come to its conclusion as quickly as it did, but that was solely based on Shakara's decision to tell Shaft about it. I didn't think she would, honestly. I didn't know what, but I wasn't really expecting that confiding, I suppose. Maybe I don't know if that's not really what it was, I guess, but.
And Shakara feels a little betrayed by Shaft immediately going, okay, well, Killian, where are you? Come out, I'll kill you. Like, you weren't supposed to let him know that you were there.
I don't think you gave all the information in a way saying that he was going to be there or something. I got the impression it was more of he's working with Isabella and stuff.
I told you to be quiet because he could be around. And I was like, don't react. I'm going to tell you something. Be quiet. And you immediately like, Killian's here? Where? I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, I don't know if I remember it that way.
From Shakara's perspective, that's what happened.
I think we killed, what's her name? Ulfa. And then I can't remember. I was going over to get Ulfa and say, where is Killian's, what I wanted to do. But it was already, she was already dead by the time I got over there. So I think I just took the helmet off or something. I can't remember what it was. And, if he was nearby, I wanted to kill him. He would be my primary objective.
Right, but you were supposed to be cool about it and not react like you knew he was there.
I thought it was more along the lines of you didn't want her to know that I knew. But she's dead.
John was very uncool about it.
Exactly.
Emily let him in
That's what we're getting at, really. Yeah.
Emily let him in on the details.
I didn't want her to know. Did you know that I knew
So,
that
Leland,
he knew?
you didn't think Shakara was going to tell Shaft at all?
I wasn't entirely convinced that she would. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I just set the pins up and I set up the dominoes and you all just tip them over wherever and whenever you want. That's all that's happening.
I mean, let's face it. We've been working together as a party over the last 15, 20 episodes. So having any kind of thing thrown in there that would divide us is a great idea.
Well, see, thank you. So the thing is, with the conclusion of Killian, like, I knew that the only final outcome was going to be them Shaft and Killian trying to kill each other, right? Like, that's the only way it could be. That's just that's the relationship that you and Gillian had. And after he fucked you over and literally left you for dead, right? Like, what else could Shaft possibly do? Of course that's going to happen. So he had to worm his way in there another way. Otherwise, he just kind of like shows up, demands for the pieces of armor, and then you fight him and then it's over. And it's like, okay, that sucked because that was very anticlimactic, right? Regardless of how the fight happened. So I hope it felt more, and obviously it's very one-sided from Shaft's perspective too, right? Like, because Shaft wasn't around for the subterfuge that Killian is trying to, weave in, reaching out to Shakara through Ulfa and making sure Lushki gets buddied up to Mia and ingraining himself by proxy into the party. Like, usually when that has happened through the campaign, there's time for those things to gestate. And in this batch of 7, like, it's kind of all happening very quickly. And I think it's still effective, but potentially could have been more effective. But again, that's just how things happened based on the decisions that the party is making. And that's just how it went. That's how the dominoes fell this time.
Oh, yeah. Should I trust you? Okay, I trust you. I shouldn't have trusted you.
Yeah.
Like, all at once.
So part of the reason why I did tell Shaft that he was there because Killian said he wanted the gauntlets too, which Shaft had in his bag. So I wanted him to protect the gauntlets. Like, don't let these go.
Right. Don't take your bag off and put it on the ground, even if you're being flourishy.
Exactly. Yeah, right.
You didn't specifically tell me not to do that.
True.
That's why. Yeah. I think if I would have saw Killian behind the wall in the cave, I would have went after him.
Yeah.
I mean, because the rest of it is hell with everybody else. This is my opportunity to get vengeance, right? That would have been primary objective.
And I don't think I realized how strong that vengeance need was. I thought you guys did like each other.
Yeah, I don't think there was any reason for you to, try to predict that. Like, it's Shaft. It's who Shaft is, right? Like, Shaft gives you very little, purposefully. So I don't think that really Shakara would have parsed that out on her own, right, without additional information coming from Shaft, or Killian, I suppose. Although Killian did say in your little meeting, like, yeah, I know if Shaft knows I'm here, he's going to try to kill me. So I would keep it on the down low.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Shakara don't care.
Well, I was thinking more about protecting the armor than Shaft wanting to actually go after him and kill him right then.
You like playing both sides. Don't lie about it.
No. Why do you say?
Yeah. We're fine. We're fine.
No,
We're fine.
I could have gotten the armor and let Alpha take off with it, and then met up with them and gone back to Heraklion. I mean, that's what Killian wanted to do. He wanted me to go with them to Heraklion with both pieces of the armor.
Did you legit think about it at all, betraying us?
No.
Yeah, just between you and me. Did you think actually?
No. He said go take the armor to Heraklion, and I was like, wait, but Samuel needs it to kill the Neogi. That's what we're doing. My goal from Isabella is to get the armor to Samuel to get the eyes. That's what I'm doing.
Get the gauntlets to Sam.
With the breastplate as bargaining power.
Those are the instructions, right? But I just want to be clear that the instructions that you've received from Isabella, right? And okay, great. Well, you can use Shakara and her companions to get you these gauntlets, and then you're going to give me the eyes, right? So that's like a single piece that Isabella is agreeing to allow Samuel to have, essentially, right? From the information you have, that's the point of view, right?
Right.
So when you say Isabella's allowing Samuel to have the armor, that's not quite right, and I don't want to make sure that that's not what's being expressed.
And she sent Killian. She sent Killian off to get the breastplate because that was a whole separate deal, and that was, I don't know what the timeline of when she sent Killian off was, but Isabella did not expect us to find the breastplate. I get that.
What was Killian gonna get out of that deal? Like, do we know?
I don't think we know.
Membership into the Covenant. Kick somebody else out.
Dude, because she got you on the amulet, you got Killian on the breastplate.
That was you didn't get too much information about that from Killian, but what Shakara got from Killian was Killian's party has been operating well before the four of you have been together or involved with Isabella at all. And they've been putting a lot of effort into, injecting themselves with Clash and getting close to there. Killian also mentioned to Shakara the work that he was doing, getting closer to Hannah to get to the amulet. So it's very clear to Shakara that Killian was out to get far more than just a single piece of, right? He's not just working on the chest plate here, that kind of stuff, right? Essentially what Killian said to Shakara was, just think of us as Isabella's plan B in case Samuel isn't too cooperative with handing over the eyes. And I don't know if what it felt like to me that Shakara or Emily in the moment interpreted that is as being the plan B to what Shakara and you four are supposed to be doing. But that's not what he meant.
Yeah.
Your plan, like, D. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, also just Killian being there and Isabella having set him out, even though she had sent Killian out before she sent Shakara out, pissed off Shakara because she felt like Isabella was undermining her and saying that she can't do what she was sent out to do. But damn it, Shakara's going to do her job and she's going to get it done, so back the F off.
oh yeah,
I
get it.
got this.
Yeah.
Go away. So that was my whole thing. It was like, Killian, the plan's changed. I'm here now. I'm involved. Go away. I got it.
Sure. I mean, because Isabella has said to you, Shakara, I want you to be my equal, but all of her actions are saying otherwise.
Exactly.
Look at it from Killian's perspective.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I came in after him, and I'm taking everything away from him, and I'm one step ahead of him all this time, and yeah, I'm sure he wasn't exactly happy, but I don't care, and he's dead, so.
So Shakara also asked Killian, when was the last time I think you said, when was the last time you talked to Isabella? Killian said, I haven't seen Isabella in months. And then when you're dead, you see that he has
Yeah, he had to.
a little amulet, an iron token, clearly able to communicate with Isabella.
Yeah.
But we still don't know how those eerie, because like Shakara's eerie tokens, I assume they're like a lesser version of what Isabella can do, but I don't know how powerful hers are, because Shakara's are like a one-time use.
No, these are like a walkie-talkie. Say over, Roger, you know.
That's a much lesser version for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw how the scabulet functioned, right? It was Isabella was able to communicate with Falzern at any time she wanted, and you still don't know for sure whether or not Isabella could hear and see through it either.
Right.
I mean, for sure she could. It's like a puppy cam. She could like check in on us and like feed us a treat and like.
That's my suspicion.
Yeah, I'm thinking she could.
She's like, oh, they're getting rowdy.
Yeah, I
should
should
do
maybe
something."
pipe in there. I don't believe that anybody has really posed the question as to why did Falzern have to get a scabulet?
Oh, I just figured Isabella was playing with him, messing with him.
Who frickin' knows?
I thought
don't
it was just
know.
like a sick fantasy she had, and she just wanted to do that.
She's just cruel.
Because once we removed it, he would have the scar forever.
Well, because it like dug down into him, like with tendrils and stuff, right?
Yeah, it was connected pretty deep.
Like maybe taking him over, or maybe he was eventually going to become a what's a hex blood?
Well, I mean, the original thing was like for Falzern to join the Coven, right?
Yeah,
It was more of a connection thing.
it's a better signal. The more tendrils there are, it's a better signal she
Do
gets.
the sisters have chest scabulets to connect to each other?
I highly doubt it.
No?
But now that you mention that, Leland, it does certainly seem like a bit of a diss. You know what I mean? Like, she could have just given him a token to put in his pocket. But she's like, no, I'm going to screw with this poor little wizard and sink my tendrils into his chest.
So why did she do it?
Well, yes, partially to be cruel, because Isabella is very cruel. But also it was part of forming a literal and figurative connection to Falzern and the Coven. I mean, we've all seen the effect that a connection like that has had on Shakara. So it's again, it was implemented within Shakara mostly because you're not giving me a scabulet.
Yeah,
So
no, I wouldn't.
another avenue was pursued as far as how it's almost like it's like how the Coven is manifesting itself in your person, right? It just happened to be physically connected to Falzern through, the process that a similar process or
So
avenue that.
what's Shakara got then?
Well,
Nothing.
Shakara, look at how Shakara's appearance is. Shakara's a hex. She's no longer a dragonborn. She's completely transformed, and that's the influence of the Coven.
A full body thing.
Make
So it's
over.
like, I don't want a scabulet.
yeah.
It's like,
Full
okay,
body
you know what,
scabulet.
I'll make you into a hot chick. Okay.
Yeah, Falzern would have settled for being a hot chick, I'm sure.
Honestly, right?
Well, and Hulsa had the thing in her forehead, too.
Was he given the option?
Also did have a thing in her forehead. But also think of how difficult it was to sever that physical connection to Falzern. And how is Shakara, if she wanted to take that avenue, how would Shakara sever the effects that the Coven has had on her? Are they irreversible? How would you even go about if you wanted to be a Dragonborn again?
I assumed that was not gonna happen. I just assumed that there is no going back now. I'm a Hexblood forever, and either I die or I become a hag eventually. So what happens to Shakara if Isabella and Jessica both die and there's no longer a Coven?
You get Mia and you tell her, hey, listen.
Yeah, tried that.
We tell you the great
Tried
things about
that.
Thor. You'll be a born-again Dragonborn.
Do you need, legitimate question, do you need X number of members for the Coven to continue to exist? Because as far as we know, we killed Erica and the Coven didn't dissolve when it was only 2.
Coven needs 3 to be
the
powerful.
Coven is the strongest with 3 members, yes. So traditionally, when like hags form covens, more often than not, reluctantly, because they don't want to share power with other hags, but they get an immense amount more being cooperative. So it's like this love-hate thing. So that's why covens are formed, because the 3 members of a coven, if you were to go up against the 3 members of a coven, like mechanically, it ups their challenge rating by like 2 or 3 points. Versus if you were to take them on individually, even if it was like in succession, 1 hag, 2 hag, 3 hag, 4 hag, more hag, the power level is exponential.
Don't let Shakara be there. When we go to attack Isabella, don't let Shakara be there, because he's a power of 2.
What, you think I'm going to turn against you?
I don't know. I still don't know. I don't know. Probably not. Listen, you didn't have Dendar resurrect Falzern, Like, you could have done your little spiel, too.
I don't have any direct connection to Dendar. I've never spoken to Dendar.
It's always the first time.
I want to save that for specialness.
Hey, Leland, if Leland was playing off the cuff, you never know what could have happened.
But see, then if I do that, I mean, is favor to the Neogi god, favor to Dendar is kind of... I think I'd rather owe the favor to the Neogi god. Honestly, because I'm a little scared of Dendar. I don't know. Neogi god sounds like something I can kill. Dendar, I don't know.
Right. Yeah. The point I was trying to make was that Emily said that Shakara either basically, like, if you're gonna kill Isabella and Jessica, well, then what happens to Shakara, right? But does that mean, like, if 2 of the members of the Coven are killed, is the Coven no longer in existence, and the remaining single member
is just weaker?
She'll promote.
Well, yeah, I guess that's what I
Underlings.
don't know that would necessarily like mean that. Yeah,
It shouldn't mean death. It just mean being weaker.
No.
I would think.
Yeah, no, it's not like an all or nothing, right? Because each individual member of the coven still has their own individual power. It's just collectively it increases, and then they form their bonds, which allows that power to grow outside of the bounds of any of the individual members of it, right? So yes, if you had Isabella, Jessica, and Shakara all in the same room, all 3 of them would benefit from additional power just by their proximity.
To destroy each other, right, Shakara?
Yep.
But Shakara doesn't, because Shakara is now no longer a Dragonborn. She's now a Coven member, Hexblood, whatever. She doesn't need the other 2 members of the Coven to continue sustaining her and keep her alive, basically.
No. I mean, if Shakara would like to create her own coven, it may be a little more difficult being only a Hexblood versus a hag. So I suppose, hypothetically, Shakara's the one left standing of the 3 sisters. Then I guess she could either choose, like she kind of mentioned, either she dies or becomes a hag. She could continue to pursue becoming a hag and then, building the coven and gaining the power from a new coven, I suppose. Because as far as you all know, Isabella, she's grandmother Isabella. She's the top tier of the coven. So essentially, she's the top of the pyramid. So everything else, the employees below her are trying to sell everyone else. And so she stays at the top of the pyramid. So.
What if we get Jessica on our team?
How are you going to do that?
I don't know.
She seemed nice when we met her.
I still
mean,
haven't met
she
her. Shakara hasn't met her.
Who met her?
Falls in
Falls
the
in
you
and
guys
Shaft
know
did
that.
a while ago.
You met Jessica?
Yeah.
When they were running through the portals.
Briefly, it was a blind date. We didn't really know who we were going to meet. We showed up.
A
And,
blind date.
yeah. And then we showed up, and she rejected us. And
Be like, listen, Jessica, you always wanted to be as powerful as Isabella, right? Like, join us. Take her down with us. Start your own coven. Be the Izzy.
Be the grandmother, yeah.
We should try it.
All right, off to picture.
there we go.
There's too much to go. We can't end this campaign, Leland. We can't. There's too much.
Honestly, there is a lot of shit going on currently.
It just continues. Yeah.
And I'm glad we, nipped the end of one thread.
Yeah.
The Killian
The
thread.
Killian thread.
Yep. Samuel alluded to the fact that he worked with Killian at some point in time, and he didn't trust him anymore. Is it because he was working with Isabella on the side, Samuel found out, or is there something that we don't know?
I don't think you haven't really discovered what happened between them.
Okay. I didn't know if there was some thread there that I
They're
missed.
ex-lovers. It's obvious.
They could be. We don't know.
I don't know. Killian never mentioned him when we were friends. I didn't know.
Killian never mentioned when we were lovers.
When we were together.
We didn't talk about exes.
Yeah, I don't think nobody's discovered what exactly went down with them. It's just like both sides have kind of said, well, yeah, we don't associate with each other anymore.
Okay.
Though I believe in your first meeting with Samuel, did he say, Killian spoke about you, Shaft, or something like that? In the first meeting, he had said, like, I've dealt with Killian.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to remember, because, yeah, he did say he couldn't, he felt like he couldn't be trusted or something like that. Samuel couldn't trust him for some reason, is what I remember of that conversation. Or he said something like, I've worked with him before, and I'm trying to put together the fact that he's working with Isabella might be something to do with that, the rift there. But it is interesting, because I'm thinking now, that when he set Shaft up to go do the job to take Braun, that was ultimately for Hannah, right? So you can see the strings there of what was going on back in the early days there in the background.
It was all for the armor. Still all comes down to that armor.
Right.
It started with the armor. Well, fake armor.
It did start with the big armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well written
Yeah, it's
campaign.
all
Like,
come back to the
round of
armor.
applause, everybody. Round of applause. Oh, man. It's so fun to be involved with it and to listen to it. Like, honestly. Ugh.
Did we hit all the questions?
I think so. Like, Britt also asked, like, was Elena berating Bill, or was it a Mia Falzern moment? I don't know.
It's always Elena.
Yeah, why did you do that? You're a squishy little human.
I will leave you with these parting words before we wrap up.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, I think I mentioned it in one of the episodes, like, action economy is going to be the king and combat's moving forward, right? And I know...
You did say that to me.
Yeah, and, like, Mia has a lot of different
you were like,
abilities.
you only use your bonus action.
Exactly.
You didn't use your action. Yeah.
I don't know if Mia's going to lean a little more heavily on maybe switching to using her hammer a little more versus to
I don't
burning
know.
slots.
At this point, I'm definitely got to keep a slot spare, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that this last combat will change her priorities, and instead of the, like, YOLO, use what you got, like, she might reserve something. Yeah. This is her little family she wants to keep together. Like,
I mean, the funny...
if two go down, I mean, then I got a choice to make, so at least I got a minute.
You fill that pendant with 3 revivifies and just have it going.
Shakara versus Shaft, I mean, Shaft. Shaft was kidnapping Braun. Shakara tried to get me to join a cult.
Coven.
The whole Keck thing with Shakara was a thing.
Now, the whole job with your brother, I didn't even know you then. So you really can't hold me.
Yeah.
I like the roleplay we're getting into.
It was nothing personal with Braun either. He was a nice guy. I got along with him fine.
It was
Business.
just a payday, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I did really try to play selflessly in that combat. It was
No, I
kind
think
of
you did a great
nice to be
job,
like,
yeah.
well, I'm gonna spend what I've got. Like this is it. Like not pretend, but like this is it. Like
We had 6 player downs. Like Shakara went down twice, Falzer went down twice,
it was
and
a
all
lot.
of you.
We were all down the once,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah, I think we kind of all like gave it all we got, and that's why Falzern. It was very stupid for Falzern to go up into melee range, but
oh, this is
that
all
was
I
the
wanted
best.
to say.
Have you
Thank
learned from
Round of
this, Bill?
applause. Yeah. Have we learned, Mr. Robe Wearing Wizard?
I'll have you know that Shaft's the only one I didn't give you shit about it.
yeah,
Well, you were like, let's role play this out. And then Emily and I were like, all right, let's do
Look,
this.
John will let the role play happen where other people give Bill shit. But Shaft, on the other hand, not Shaft.
You know, it was kind
Shaft's your
of
buddy.
nice. John said it. Emily would say something. I'd be like, yeah, and this, and then Shakara would be like, yeah, and this, and then I'd be like, yeah, and this. It was, like, it was a little heavy.
yeah.
We did it
I
because
don't
we
know,
cared.
to be honest.
But deserved.
If we didn't care at
okay.
all, we wouldn't have said anything.
So let's
Our
say
little cucaracha.
I know we're beating a dead horse at this point, but let's say
Wait,
Falzern.
and you're good at dead horses.
Oh, he's good at that.
I prefer my dead horses roasted to a crisp. Thank you very much.
Not frozen on a
Pegasus
lake.
is all right.
No. But let's say Falzern stayed back and tried to do what little he could do from range, which is probably next to 0 damage. And then he just sits there and watches his friends die, and then has to
Maybe you need to learn some buffing spells.
and then has to flee.
Or go get help. Or
But at that point, you guys are already dead. So by the time I go to get help and come back, there's
so
no
what's the
helping
point
you.
of you dying too?
Well, I hoped that maybe me being up in the thick of it
That makes no sense.
Might-
Just listen to your sentence.
be-
You're a wizard.
I hope that me being up in the thick of it and being able to do more damage might be the thing that we needed to win.
You were doing 12 damage halved, Bill. You're doing 6 damage.
I would probably do 0 damage from range. I guess that's what was going through my head.
So spend a round to get closer, and then the next round, fly in, do your damage, fly out. Fly in, do your damage,
You
fly
weren't using
out.
your movement. Leland asked you if you would move. He asked you. He said, "Are you sure you want to stay there?" And you were like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
in. It's,
Well, okay, but to Bill's credit, at that point, he had flown out of their range because he said, "How high do I gotta go?" So he was up out of melee range of those things. So he did that. Even with the winds, he flew up there to get out of the range. So, I mean, yeah, he could have zipped like another 30 feet back, I guess. But I think Bill played it fine. It's just the death burst was the death burst.
listen,
you know what I mean?
you
That was
definitely
bad.
played it like a Falzarin that you've played before, though. Like you've been swallowed by things and like gotten up from.
You've been swallowed by things too.
I was swallowed by things to save him.
Let's not get into the details.
Yeah, let's not talk about who swallowed
Bicker and
who.
argue over who swallows.
No kink shaming. All right. But like, it took 7 episodes, but what a group of 3 episodes, right? My favorite 3 yet. The best 3 yet.
Good job, everybody.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
there's lots more to come. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where I thought we would be in the campaign by now. We're like middle of January, and here we were talking last after party about being wrapped up by by the 4th year anniversary.
By
Like,
March, yeah.
I don't know if that's gonna happen, but
Is April really 4 years?
April
Yeah.
will be 4 years. Yeah.
Oh,
That is nuts.
really? Wow.
Now,
No.
here's
way.
the thought. If we wanted, I guess me being away is annoying. it cuts down a lot of our time. So probably won't be able to do this. But if we had the content to or nearing the end of the campaign to go back to releasing twice weekly to get right, finish strong, like finish how we started here, right? That's a possibility. Maybe we're throwing out there with the extra
Last
time.
week of March episode every day.
Every day. March
That
Madness.
times a
would be
day.
March
You get this.
Madness.
That would be madness.
What's going to happen next on session 100, session 236 of the Incorrigible?
Find out in 6 hours.
We haven't slept, but it's totally worth it. The Incorrigible party. I don't know that our schedules will allow that, but
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem.
But a lot of cool stuff happening.
oh, dude,
It's
Yeah.
all funneling down together. It's
I'm never
It's
bored.
intense.
Oh my gosh. With all the drama, let's just keep playing this campaign so we don't have to choose another system.
I'm very excited to see what the next like half a dozen play sessions hold.
Yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
excited to get to the Paladin camp finally, and like what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen from there? It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Let's defeat the Neogi Scourge.
I was gonna say I think probably none of us can predict what's gonna happen.
Oh.
It's gonna be bonkers.
I mean, Shakar's gonna turn on us. I've called that from the beginning.
Excuse me.
I love you, Emily, but you're not Shakar. It's fine.
I think we're a cohesive group right now. We're all in it
Totally.
together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just like High School Musical. You
Everything's
left that,
out in the
you
open.
left that in.
Nobody's hiding any secrets. We're all firing on all cylinders. They can't stop us.
This
Right?
honestly, this
Right,
is
everybody?
the most
I agree.
open that the party has been all campaign.
It's game time. Yeah.
It took 3 years.
The campaign would be over if we had talked to each other from the beginning.
Oh,
It'd be done by now.
It probably honestly would be. It would have, yeah. The campaign would have been done by now, for sure. I think all the subterfuge, the inter-party conflict has added at least an extra 100 episodes. Easy.
And worth every 100 of every one of those
Wouldn't
100.
change it for a second.
Okay, let's wrap it up. I've been John and Shaft.
I've been Emily and Shakara.
I'm Elena. I play Mia.
I've been Bill and Falzern.
And I'm the handsome, sexy, creative, and sleeveless Leland Steele. Happy adventuring.
I hit record.
I hit record.
Recording.
Recording.
All right.
Morning,
Making sure
dorming,
everything
dorming.
looks good again. All right. Still looks good.
All right. Ready?
Yep.
Is all
Here we go.
of you.
Excuse me.
3, 3, 2, 1.
All right.
Got it.
So
We
you
did a
walked
lot
into
in
the...
this chair. Oh, sorry. Usually we do a recorded preamble. I didn't mean to cut you
Yeah.
off there.
I'm waiting. I'll wait. You guys tell me when you're
Never
ready.
mind. It's not
I got the
important.
vibes that Emily was ready, so I was going
Not
to shut up.
important. You know what? If anybody should pick up on
I'm
that,
glad it wasn't me for once, though.
if
It
anybody
wasn't
should
me for once.
pick up on that silence, that is the lead-in silence. It should be me.
Okay. So you walk into the clearing.
I'm sorry, I had to.